Newsmax. Gabe Dalmath, meteorologist Keith Eichner with live Rochester Doppler radar, and Rich Funky on sports. This is News 10.
It doesn't look any better from above. In fact, you might think the flooding looks worse. This is a view of Rochester from our Sky 10 chopper. Good evening.
Our top story tonight continues to be the flood watch. The Genesee River is at flood stage, and county leaders are prepared to put their emergency plan into action if they have to.
Some people have already been forced out of their homes, and Wendy Wright joins us live with their story from Scottsville.
Well, Janet, I'm at Hines Tract in Scottsville, just off Scottsville Road. Now, it may not look like it right now, but I'm standing in the road here. This entire road has been basically washed away. It's completely flooded out here, and this, unfortunately, is the only way to get to the houses, which are directly over there. So the people who live over there have all been evacuated from their homes. When the remainder of homeowners on this street left today, they had to make it through this first. Dennis Titus made several trips, moving his family's belongings, including his father's 1919 Model A Ford.
We ain't never had something like this since 1972, and I was like not even 4 or 5 years old, so it's the first time I went through it.
The Titus family has lived here for 30 years. They spent the day packing up.
There's nothing you can do about it. We're getting this rain. We'll have to probably just move out, shut everything off.
The street looks like a flooded ghost town. All of the Titus's neighbors have fled to higher, safer ground. But just in case, the sheriffs and fire officials made a trip through.
We're going to move you out. Okay? We don't want to take you up to the firehouse, or we're going to take you up to the high school. Good.
Town officials turned off power to the homes here, and they wanted to be sure everyone was evacuated. It looks pretty bad out front, but take a look at the backyard of the Titus's home. This is the Genesee River. It's overflowing its banks, and the water is coming almost to the house. The view from above shows the extent of the flooding here. It's a difficult sight to those who own and love this land.
It makes me sick. I didn't sleep for 3 nights thinking about it. You know, it's rough.
Now, the Scottsville Fire Department tells me that more than 20 homes in this area and in a couple other areas in Scottsville have been evacuated. Now, most people are staying with friends and relatives tonight, but the Wheatland-Chili High School has been opened up as an emergency shelter for anybody who does need to go there in the Scottsville area. If you think you need to leave your home and you're in this area, you can call the Scottsville Fire Department, or you can call any fire department in your area, and they'll be able to come out and help you get out of your homes. What I want to tell you is you do not want to attempt to drive through anything like this. If this is what your driveway or your road looks like, don't drive through it. Your fire department can come and help you get out of that. And also, the best thing to do is to not try to walk through any of this too. I was just staying at the edge, which isn't very deep, but out there it's about 3 feet deep. So it's very dangerous. The water's moving quickly. So you have to be very careful out here tonight. I'm Wendy Wright reporting live in Scottsville with the News 10 Live Eye. Janet?
Some good advice, Wendy. Thank you. And of course, there are problems in Honeoye Falls as well, and Lynette Adams has that story.
This is how highway crews in Honeoye Falls have spent their day, placing sandbags in back of houses near the Honeoye Creek and waiting, hoping the water doesn't rise too fast. Honeoye Falls Highway Foreman Steve Lord isn't hopeful and warns residents.
If you got a low finished basement, get stuff that's valuable up off the floors and just, you know, kind of keep an eye on it. We're keeping an eye on it, and just be patient, and we all got to wait it out and see what happens.
So far, Lord says only 4 houses along Creekside Drive are in danger of being flooded, although crews are keeping an eye on some other areas. This is where Heather Warden has lived for the past 13 years. She says her family has done all it can to minimize the damage.
So we've elevated the furniture that we couldn't get out and taken out other items that we could, just in case. And we are hoping, though, that the rain will stop.
So far, it hasn't, and the water is rising fast. Residents say this flood is all too familiar to the flood caused by Hurricane Agnes, so they know how high the water could get. The hard part is waiting for that to happen and hoping that these measures will help save them. Bob Wilcox lived through that flood. He has flood insurance, but he has been so nervous about this flood, he took off half a day from work just to watch the rain.
There's nothing you can do. Just ride it out. Mother Nature
Plays a cruel joke on you sometimes, I'll tell you.
Lynette Adams reporting from Honeoye Falls. The Mount Morris Dam is playing a key role in preventing worse flooding along the Genesee River. The dam in Livingston County is holding back the flow from the upper portion of the river. All gates on the dam are closed at this point. The dam is now at 65% of its capacity. And those who regulate the dam want the situation to improve before they release any water.
If you took conditions like we're looking at right now and we did nothing, kept the dam shut, and just allowed ourselves to absorb the runoff, we're looking 4 or 5 days before we'd be in a condition where we'd have to look at doing something other than just sitting there with the dam shut.
The 40-year-old dam survived its supreme test back in 1972 when it helped hold back floodwaters from Hurricane Agnes.
Well, we may not be out of the woods yet. Keith Eichner is here to tell us how much more rain is on the way. Keith?
Well, fortunately, the good news is that the bulk of the rain has now fallen. And even though it was higher today than expected, we had nearly 0.8 of an inch of rain here in Rochester since midnight, giving us a storm total of nearly 2 inches. The good news is that the significant rains are now behind us. We're already beginning to see a change over to some wet snow now over the eastern suburbs. Live Rochester Doppler radar shows where the most active areas of precipitation are currently taking place. And we're calling it precipitation because we now know there is some snow mixing in. Some rivers will start to crest tonight. Remainders will begin to crest tomorrow. Complete details coming right up as to when and how bad things will get. But we do see some light at the end of the tunnel.
Good. Thank you, Keith.
All right, Keith, all of this water is affecting some of the area's sewage treatment plants.
Sewer mains are on overload, and some raw sewage is being sent to creeks and other waterways, but chlorine is being added first. The Monroe County Health Department is advising anyone who uses well water for drinking or cooking to check it out, and if it doesn't look right, you may want to boil it first for 2 minutes before using it. Conservation methods are also being urged for folks in Brighton, Gates, Chili, and Ogden, and in the village of Lyons.
And we have more flood coverage coming up. We'll take you to Ellison Park. That looks more like Ellison Lake right now.
Plus, find out how some people are making the best of this soggy situation.
Flooding low-lying areas near Ellison Park.
Irondequoit Creek has overflowed its banks, and you see pictures of the water covering Blossom Road through Ellison Park. Now, most of the park itself, the picnic areas and pavilions, are underwater, and homeowners near the park are busy trying to keep their basements dry. Out at the lakeshore, water levels are also threatening homes nearby. Part of Old Edgemere Drive and Beach Avenue closed. Many are just praying their break walls hold up against the waves and rising water.
On Ballantyne Road, Chili Town crews have to keep moving back those road-closed barricades as the water inched its way up, covering more and more of the pavement. Some vehicles, like big trucks, could still make it through. As you saw earlier in other sections, the water spilled onto lawns, and many homeowners found themselves with a moat around their house. Nancy Rhoda, a school bus driver for Bosse's, came out this morning and couldn't see her driveway, but managed to make it out to pick up her kids.
Well, we spend most of our time looking out the window, watching how high the water is coming. It's getting kind of scary at this point. We were here in '72 when Agnes went through, and this is higher now than when Agnes went through.
The town of Chili plans to keep portions of Ballantyne Road closed until there is some sort of let-up and the water recedes. While most of us are groaning about all this water, others are finding that it's fun. Our Sky 10 chopper caught sight of these folks getting around by canoe. It's not the fastest way to travel, but it gets you there. And besides, there are only a few alternatives. There were some out there, as I understand, trying to get around on bicycles, and here they are. This is not exactly the best biking weather you can find.
I agree. I agree. This is so disruptive to lives, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. I have not seen pictures like this in the years that I've been here in Rochester, so it's quite something.
Well, Keith Eichner will be back in just a bit with his forecast.
With more rain across the area, more than we expected, but now the worst is over, and we'll begin to soon see a changeover to some light snow, which won't do a whole lot of harm here, trust me. Outside now, temperatures are now cooling off. They're getting close to the freezing mark. That may begin to cause some other types of problems here later tonight. Current temperature is now 33 degrees. That's our new low for the day. The dew point temperature is also 33 degrees. That gives us a relative humidity of 100%. The barometer is slowly rising. The wind is now out of that cold weather direction, northwesterly at 7 miles an hour. And rainfall so far today, 70/100 of an inch, and when you add that up to the nearly 1 inch of rain we had yesterday, we're almost up to 2 inches of rain. Now across the region now, live Rochester Doppler radar just showing a few stray areas of some precipitation over the northeastern part of the county. Elsewhere though, it's mostly in the form of light drizzle, very light, very hard to be picked up. But as we look across the area now, weather watchers have checked in and they're all telling us that conditions are varying. Bob Iveson, our future weather watcher tonight over in Brockport, he tells us currently they're getting a little bit of cloud cover up there and some drizzle, 33 degrees. Also in Greece it's 33, but in the eastern suburbs, over in Marion and also over in Sodas Point, the drizzle there has changed over to light snow, and that is the beginning of a trend that'll begin to translate its way down to just about everybody before the nighttime hours are over. Now, as we look at the various river stages across the region, we showed this a couple of hours ago. Again, we're expecting the crest of the Genesee River near Avon to occur tonight at 34 feet. It'll arrive in Rochester tomorrow afternoon and cresting at 14.5 feet. Now, those values at 1 p.m. are already over flood stage. The Black Creek over in Churchville reporting 8.1 foot level. Their crest is right around 8.5 feet, and that'll occur sometime tomorrow as well. Now, across the Northeast currently, it is cold everywhere today, with the exception of Cape Hatteras. A little bit of sunshine there and 60 degrees, while here it's only 33. That's our current low. The high temperature only 37 degrees. Get out to the west and we see that the colder air is really taking over now and allowing for a change over to some snow now just west of Buffalo out near Cleveland, also near Indianapolis and Alpena, Michigan and Marquette, while in the Chicago area, partly sunny conditions there and temperatures right at 34 degrees. Now, as we look at the latest national weather map tonight, very, very strong area of low pressure, primarily in the upper atmosphere, keeping our weather conditions here overcast, along with the heavy amounts of rain that we've seen here so far. The surface storm is now moving east of Boston, and that storm will slowly begin to lift out, but we'll be dealing with extensive cloud cover behind the surface system as the upper air low will take a couple of days before it finally begins to lift out of here. Sunshine across the central plains. These were late afternoon temperatures. Cool even in Dallas today with temperatures there only at 66 degrees, while temperatures to the north are only in the 20s, and that colder air will begin to take grip across the region. The satellite view shows the extensive cloud shield extending across the entire northeast into Canada and back down into the areas past Chicago. So we have several more days of cloud cover to put up with before we begin to finally see some sunshine and a warming trend for next week. For tonight, flood warnings continue. We'll see the drizzle change over to wet snow. Look for overnight lows around 30. Little accumulation of the snow likely. Tomorrow, flood warnings remain in effect. Cloudy day, occasional snow showers or flurries, a high of 36. Extended forecast is going to show a gradual warming trend in temperature here, remaining mostly cloudy on Sunday and 39, partly sunny Monday and 43, Tuesday and Wednesday, finally, 45 to 50 with sunshine returning. And again, the worst of the flood will begin to abate during late Saturday afternoon, Saturday night in most sections.
Good to see that sunshine coming in.
Yeah, it keeps getting delayed every time we put out a new forecast.
You're going to say when this season is over, we will all do a sigh, a big sigh.
We will have earned
collective
spring.
sigh.
You got it.
Thank you.
Well, coming up in sports, NASCAR's reaction to the death of Winston Cup champ Alan Kulwicki.
And it's Final Four time. Rich has News 10 Sports up next.
Getting the tragedy that struck the NASCAR circuit last night. Alan Kulwicki, the defending Winston Cup champ, was killed in a plane crash in Tennessee. Positive identification has not been made, but it is believed the 38-year-old Kulwicki was one of 4 people killed in the crash of a private plane. That plane went down on approach and exploded. There was a tribute for Alan Kulwicki today at the Bristol International Speedway, the site of this weekend's race. Kulwicki's racing team lapped the track, taking a final checkered flag.
I think he was really just really getting to where he enjoyed having his car and driving and racing and all that went with it. And that's the tough thing. I mean, it's hard to imagine.
I went through the garage today and talked to all the guys, or as many as I could. It's like everybody wishes they could say goodbye.
Alan Kulwicki was widely respected for building his own racing team and winning the Winston Cup Championship. And since 1989, the Scottsville company, Swain Tech, had worked closely with him. Swain coded engineering parts and auto parts for his car. The 38-year-old Kulwicki was to defend his title in the Food City 500 on Sunday. Officials said today that the race will go on as scheduled. The Amherst have another chance to beat the Binghamton Rangers tonight. They are 0 for 10 this season. They do have a couple of ties with Binghamton, but beating the mighty Rangers has been tough for a lot of teams.
You know, we're hoping to play them in the playoffs, and I think this is a good time to go down there and show them that we've improved and give them a run for their money.
And after tonight's game, the Amherst come home for an afternoon matchup with Adirondack Sunday. Only 7 games remain in the regular season. That includes a makeup game with Binghamton at the end of the year. The legal hassling continues over free agent Will Wolford of the Bills. The NFL Management Council agrees with the Bills that Indianapolis's offer is unfair, but the Players Association says it is fair. And if they can agree on an arbitrator, maybe they can work out something on this situation. Monday's deadline for matching Wolford's offer might be extended. And Reggie White has narrowed his list of teams to 3, the 49ers, Redskins, or Packers. College basketball awards are out for the men. AP's Player of the Year award goes to Calbert Chaney of Indiana. AP's Coach of the Year award is Vanderbilt's Eddie Fogler. My Final Four pick, Michigan almost upsets Kentucky. North Carolina nips Kansas. Kentucky beats Carolina. Who knows? Anything can happen. The Jayhawks were working out today at the Superdome in New Orleans. Kansas won it all in 1988. If practice means anything, Kansas could be in trouble. But, hey, sometimes a bad practice means a great game.
Today wasn't the best practice for us, but I think we tried to do the things that Coach Williams wants. We just didn't didn't execute very well. We're going to have to play better tomorrow.
It's going to be a close game, and the team that can execute the last 3 minutes of the game and the team that hits the free throws is the team that's going to come out on top tomorrow.
And opening day is only 8 days away at Silver Stadium, and the Wings roster is just about set now. 28-year-old Steve Searcy will work from the bullpen for the Wings. He was with Scranton last season. The left-hander is expected to handle middle inning relief.
I like the International League much better than the only other league I actually played in would be the Pacific Coast, and I didn't like it out there. The travel's a little bit tougher, a lot further into the cities, and going into Canada a whole lot more is kind of a hassle. But the International League's a league that I know, and I've got a lot of friends that in towns where I've played through, so that's pretty nice. But I hope not to stay here very long. I'd like to pitch well and get to the big leagues again.
The Buffalo Bisons snapped the Wings' unbeaten streak this afternoon. Also in the Grapefruit League, it was Baltimore over Pittsburgh 6-4 and St. Louis down Toronto 13-8. And at the War Memorial this afternoon, Mayor Tom Ryan and Herb Washington, the State Athletic Commission's upstate boss, honored Oscar de la Hoya. He got something better than a key to the city. He got a book about the city. De La Hoya hopes to keep his unbeaten record going next Tuesday at the War Memorial against Mike Gödel. That's sports.
That's a neat gift, something he can use.
Sure, isn't it?
Well, next, a farewell to a colleague and a friend, someone we all know.
19 of those right here at TV 10. John is leaving the airwaves.
But he leaves behind many good memories.
A fog bank reported, so don't be at all surprised if later on this evening some dense fog develops up.
Through wind and snow, ahead we'd go with John.
Almost 80, 79. Then as you get north of there, it becomes all snow again. It's all heading in our direction.
Squiggles and circles and numbers he'd draw. We got dizzy, but we needed to know from John.
On through, weak low over Ohio, should move eastward.
Local conditions, snow and sun sessions with John.
Dansville, almost 80, 79.
When Doppler came calling, here was John out reporting.
TV 10 has brought Doppler radar to Rochester, and it's located on Pinnacle Hill.
A laugh here, a smile there, and all the while there was John.
Snow does fall here in western New York. There's some snow now over Ohio and back through the lakes, going down into Kentucky and the state.
We'd not be hurt while John's on alert.
It's a hurricane bearing down on us.
So here's to you, good friend, some fine times we've spent. Bye, John.
Goodbye.
Some funny and fond memories. Remember the time he was locked? We just moved into this building, and John went upstairs to check some of his equipment on the roof.
Locked down the roof.
Locked himself out.
Somebody on the street you said had...
The guy went down the street, banging on the window. He's pointing up like this. He said, get out of here.
We're thinking, what does this guy want from us?
What do you want? There's a guy up on your roof.
It was phone.
About 5 to 11.
He will be missed, though. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, he certainly will be.
All right, Keith, what's up for our weather?
It's tough act to follow. Let's go ahead and look at that planner for tomorrow. It'll stay cloudy. John commented as he left the building today, cloudy skies. That's how he leaves it. and look for temperatures in the mid-30s with a few snow showers tomorrow.
All right, we thank you for watching.
Have a good evening.
Good night. Good night.
Just plain old fat meat. It was lucky for us, though, that Ben Franklin was able to survive his exploits with a kite and live to a ripe old age. But only... Oh, jeez. Oh, yes. No, it isn't. What's more? I'm going to stuff it up that turkey. That early American was the founding father. Oh, God, no.
John, I know you're not a big fan of those fitness classes, but you do have a New Year's resolution.
Yeah, I got too much of this thing. Look at the way that shakes. I got to get rid of that. Southward, it's 91 degrees in Orlando, hot. Some good thunder showers. 60s, but you have a 75-degree reading Italy Hill. Dansville, almost 80, 79. Up along the lake shore. As we have seen, it was a blessing that Ben Franklin was not able to see the disastrous